What is going on, guys? My name is Bradley with DoublySports, bringing you a brand new episode of our Sleepers, Studs, and Stacks. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you like it at any point if you enjoy the content. If you're here from previous weeks, welcome back in. Let's get going because we are going to cash once again. I can feel it. We've been in the green all year long. Why stop now? So if you follow us on Patreon or you go above and beyond in support of the channel, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. You've probably seen a lot of this information already, but we do have some new names and some new stacks that we're going to be introducing at the end of this video. So we're going to get started with our sleepers. Joe Burrow, $5,500 against Washington football team. Expect a 20-plus point Draftkings day from him. When I say this, I've picked on Cleveland a lot, but I think Washington is the worst overall defense that they've seen in 5 weeks. And that's not a knock against Washington. They're a very good defense. But Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Tennessee sucks on third downs defensively. But overall, I think Washington might be one of the worst. They're going to get some pressure in Joe Burrow's face, but I expect him to make it hurt. Adrian Peterson at $4,000 against the Carolina Panthers. They're already 2 receivers down, so the ball has to go somewhere. DeAndre Swift is also out. The ball has to go somewhere. Stafford is hurt. I think maybe if he plays, they try and keep the ball on the ground. Easy throws. They know that they're going to have their way against this Carolina Panthers defense. There's no reason Adrian Peterson isn't going to see 12 to 17 touches in this one. I like that kind of volume at only $4,000. Keep in mind, he might not be the passing down back that could go in the hands of someone else, but Adrian Peterson overall a really strong play in my opinion. Giovanni Bernard at $5,500. I know I'm not going to be the only one talking about him this week. 20-plus Draftkings points in 2 starts earlier this season could continue. Plus, if T. Higgins is out, I think Gio Bernard has huge upside potential. Should see some bonus opportunities. Should see some out of the passing game. Like I said, I like Joe Burrow. There's no reason I don't want to match him up with Giovanni Bernard. Kalen Ballage, $5,600 against the New York Jets. I know this goes above our 5,500 point threshold. But he's right there, guys. All right, he's going up against the New York Jets. There's no reason any running back against the Jets shouldn't see an uptick in volume. He's already been announced as the lead back over Joshua Kelly, which I'm a little surprised by. At $5,600 against the New York Jets, you got to love that play. Jaylen Regor at $4,300 against the Cleveland Browns, who we've picked on all year long. Now, this one does come with a caveat. Our wide receiver core is getting a little bit healthier. Alshon Jeffrey's getting healthy. Regor, Ward. There's a couple of names out there now. However, Cleveland has lost their best pass rusher in Myles Garrett because of COVID-19. I think that dramatically hurts their pass rush, and we've picked on these defensive backs all year. Let's let it continue. I'm looking for quality of targets over quantity of targets for Regor. I think if he gets 4 or 5 catches, 75 yards and a touchdown, you're looking at 16 to 18 points roughly. That's a great game at $4,300. Marvin Jones Jr. at $5,500. Again, I will not be the only one talking about this Lions offense. Not only are there 2 top wide receivers probably out, maybe not top 2, but there are 2 wide receivers out in Amendola and Kenny Golladay. Carolina's also missing Dante Jackson out of that backfield. They're already a bad defense. Yes, they do keep a lot of the balls in front of them. Very short passing attempts, so the yardage doesn't look like it's there, but the volume of targets could be. Marvin Jones at only $5,500. A good play if you trust Matt Stafford and that thumb or whoever quarterback they throw out there. And finally, same game, Curtis Samuel at $4,700 against the Detroit Lions. Without Christian McCaffrey, we have been picking Curtis Samuel all year. They want to get him involved in some jet sweeps, some screen passes, short slants. They get him involved. If Teddy Bridgewater is out, another thing, whatever quarterback is in play, whether it's P.J. Walker or Will Grier, that quarterback is going to have more reps with Curtis Samuel than any other wide receiver that's stepping onto the field. I like Curtis Samuel at $4,700. More to watch. Michael Gallup at $3,700. Did see a good amount of volume with Andy Dalton earlier in the year. Could see a resurgence there. Jakeem Grant at only $3,500. I think he's solidified himself as the number 2 wide receiver in Miami. Could have big upside against Denver Broncos this week. Eric Ebron, if you want to go with the tight end out of Pittsburgh. My favorite tight end play is probably Dallas Goedert at 3,800. Duke Johnson at 5,400 against New England. Kind of a pesky defense, but another starter that should see good volume. Don't love the play, but if you're looking for a pivot away from like a Gio Bernard or a Balaj that a lot of people are probably going to be on this week, I think Duke Johnson is a pretty good play. LaMichael Pirine at $4,400 against the LA Chargers. Head coach Adam Gase has already said he wants to get Pirine more involved. You can only get so involved with your running back when you're down by 20 points in this one, but maybe he sees a couple of passing targets. And now it's time for our studs, and these are the guys I think you have to have in your lineup for a good day. Kicking things off, Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert. Yeah, I just went ahead and paired them together because I've been choosing them all year, and it hasn't let me down yet. Keenan Allen, I think, finally priced where he needs to be, $7,400. However, the New York Jets are down literally 5 defensive backs this week. I don't think the Jets offense can sustain drives, which means you're putting the ball back into the hands of Justin Herbert. More opportunities. I just like the Chargers all around. I'm not the only one, but I think that is my must-start duo of the week. Terry McLaurin, 6,900 against Cincinnati Bengals. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Depends on your faith in Alex Smith as a quarterback. I really think no matter who you put in at quarterback, Terry McLaurin is going to see the ball end up in his hands. He makes the most out of his plays. I don't hate the play. I don't absolutely love it, but at $6,900, there's huge upside in this one against a Bengals defense that has given up points. Adam Thielen, a cheaper option that I like a little bit more. At $6,300 against Dallas Cowboys, he has 9 touchdowns on the season. Makes his numbers look a little inflated, but I don't think the touchdowns slow down this week. Facing the Cowboys, who literally have allowed points to everyone. My only concern is that Dalvin Cook may be force-fed this week. You look 2 weeks ago, I think Minnesota only had 20 passing attempts. I think there was only 13 completions in that game. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't think that will be the case, but that little nugget of worry is in the back of my mind. If you get ahead early, why take the risk in Kirk Cousins throwing away the game when you can just give it to Dalvin Cook over and over and over again? Because a lot of people might be scared away by that number 8 beside the Cowboys run defense against Dalvin Cook's name, I should say. Please do not let that fool you. They are giving up 157 rush yards per game. They're just not giving up the touchdowns to the running back. Hence why the number 8 is there. They're giving up the passing touchdowns, which is why I put Adam Thielen. I think if you put both of these guys in there, you're going to get a lot of points. It's going to work out okay for you. Dalvin Cook, probably my favorite play from the Vikings game. But that $9,000 is a hefty price tag. Mike Davis at $6,800 against the Detroit Lions. I mentioned it last week. I think everyone was going to be on him at $4,000. I didn't see him getting over 12 points. I think he put up 8. Now at $6,800, I still don't love him, but he's absolutely worth a shot. Going up against Detroit, one of the worst teams against a pass-catching back, now has a potential backup quarterback. What do you want to do when there's a backup quarterback? Not let him make mistakes. Keep the ball on the ground. These short passes, I mentioned for Curtis Samuel earlier. Mike Davis, I think, is going to see heavy involvement in a game that should be much closer than that second half against Tampa Bay was. $6,800, a little bit worth the risk. This game, he should see 18 to 24 points. I think he absolutely gets a passing touchdown. Mike Davis, $6,800 against the Lions. A little bit of a riskier play, Kareem Hunt, $6,700 against Philadelphia. Personally, I just see Philadelphia getting ahead in this one. I think Kareem Hunt is then going to see more plays than Nick Chubb. I think both of them are great plays. I really do. Let me say that. I think Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are both very good plays this week. But Kareem Hunt absolutely has that passing upside. I think he had 19 handoffs last week and 6 targets compared to Nick Chubb, who only saw like 18 handoffs, but not the passing game targets. They're getting both of these guys heavily involved. Kareem Hunt, because of the upside catching, PPR, you know I'm all about it. And finally, Derrick Henry, $8,000 against Baltimore. I think after 2 week showings, he is going to bounce back just fine. More to watch, Davante Adams, you know it, every single week. Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones could be going up against the New Orleans Saints without Marshawn Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins. If they are healthy, Marshawn Lattimore has shut down a lot of guys and is a very good, underrated defensive back. He's up there. He's known as one of the better ones, but I still think he's a little underrated. He is an elite defensive back when he puts his mind to it. For that reason, even though Calvin Ridley's coming off an injury, coaches say he's 100% and ready to go. He practiced in full for the majority of the week. Calvin Ridley against a possible Janoris Jenkins or backup situation with Jenkins and Lattimore both dealing with a hamstring injury. Justin Jefferson, I mentioned that earlier for the Minnesota Vikings game. I love both of these wide receivers against that Dallas Cowboys defense. And the quarterbacks that I'm looking at outside of Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, maybe not at the top of my list, but has to be there because he is going to have a good week. I don't think the value is there as much as it is for Ben Roethlisberger, Tua, Carson Wentz, and finally, another running back for you, Miles Sanders, underappreciated this week. Now it's time for our stacks, and these are our 3-player builds that I think is going to set you up for a good foundation so you can go get those elite guys. You can go get those Dalvin Cooks, Derrick Henrys, Davante Adams, etc. First up, the Miami Dolphins. Tua. I'm looking at Jakeem Grant, who is solidified as the number 2 guy. Devontae Parker, and maybe Mike Gesicki. Not sure what order you want to put these in. Maybe you want to put in all 4. They're all very cheap this week. Should put up points against the Denver Broncos. It's not a bad play for you. A little bit more expensive, but I think it's absolutely going to pay off, is that LA Chargers stack. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, maybe Mike Williams, maybe Guyton. Maybe you want to put in Ballage. I think there was a report, Al Smizzle. If you don't follow Al Zinfandel, or Zeidenfield, Al Smizzle, whatever you want to call him. If you don't follow him here on YouTube or on ESPN, I think he is absolutely brilliant. He put out a report a few weeks ago that said, surprisingly, stacking a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver as often as it's done has not paid off as we expect it to. It's usually a quarterback and 2 wide receivers more often than a quarterback, running back, wide receiver. I know that I've made the mistake of, maybe not a mistake, I have a habitual motion to put in a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. I guess that's not panning out as well as I thought. It seems to work, but if you're looking for that tournament upside for the millionaire maker, which I don't typically play, I play more 50-50s and double-ups, maybe you want to stack a wide receiver or 2 wide receivers and a single quarterback, obviously. LA Chargers, I think Herbert, Allen, and Mike Williams is a slam dunk. Along those same lines, the Minnesota Vikings with Cousins, Thielen, and Jefferson. If the Dallas Cowboys sell out to slow down Dalvin Cook, this could be a winnable stack. And defenses, I try to give you some all over the board. I never really pay up for my defense, so we're going to pay off with my favorite one, which is the Miami Dolphins. It's up there on the list, but it's not the most expensive. Miami Dolphins, $3,400 against the Denver Broncos. If you do want to pay up, the Chargers and Steelers, both in slam dunk positions. And lastly, a sleeper pick that I have put into a couple of my 50-50 matchups is this Eagles defense at $2,800 against Cleveland. I think they can generate pressure. I think that's when Baker Mayfield struggles. They'll give up some rushing yards to him, but on the run, Baker Mayfield could force the ball down the field to his very limited weapon repertoire, and the Eagles could make some turnovers. That's going to do it for Week 11, guys. I know I absolutely flew through it this week. I'm trying to get this out as quickly as possible. If you have more questions, drop it in the comments below. Make sure you like this video. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. If you want that starting 5 in our player pool, it's actually been more of potential lineups and player pool. Follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/DoublySports. You'll get it for free on Facebook Sunday morning. But for those that go above and beyond in support of the channel, thank you very much. I make sure to get that out to you first. Twitter, DoublySports. Join the entire team over there. Facebook.com/DoublySports. Actually, on DoublySports today, we're going to be talking a little bit about college football. I have a couple of games to bet that we're looking at. And finally, playing video games, twitch.tv/DoublySports. Yeah, I play video games. I hang out. We're going to be doing some live streams over the summer and into next NFL season as we get ready to relaunch that Twitch channel. Thank you so much for your support. As always, the next time that I see you, we'll be in the green. Thank you.